Today I'm going to teach you how to make a slab mug, and we'll be using a template like this, which is a piece of tar paper that is going to make up the walls of the cylinder. And we also have a piece of tar paper shaped in a circle that will be used for the base of the mug. All right, a couple other tools you're going to need is you're going to need a scratcher tool, something to scratch up your clay so that we can join, something to cut with. In this case, it's a dollar store paring knife, a couple of paint stirring sticks that will be used for making sure the slab is even, and then a dowel or rolling pin. Okay, you also need a wire tool, a sponge, or some water handy, and then a slice of newspaper. Okay, so we'll get the newspaper set out on our tabletop. The paint stirring sticks next to each other. And we're going to use this bag of clay for all of our slab mugs that we make. And the important thing is that the height of the clay fresh out of the bag is going to be the same height that we need for the template to fit. So what I mean by that is that if you look the side view, it fits perfectly. And we'll take a wire tool. We're going to press down firmly against these sticks. Slide this wire tool along these sticks. I should cut an even slab. This is one of several ways to make a slab. I think it works great. All right, next step is I'm gonna make sure that my template fits on this slab that I've cut. It does fit. It's important that we take this rolling pin and just roll it over the top here. And now it's perfectly rolled out. At this point, I'm going to take my template that I have right here, and I'm going to hit it with a couple of sprays. I'm going to spray 1 or 2 times and just kind of smear it so it's wet, tacky. I'll set it down onto my slab, and then I'm going to hit it again, the dowel. This is just going to help make sure it sticks. The tar paper template sticks to the slab. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the extra clay off of this template. The thing to remember is that we're going to join this side and this side together, which means that they need to be cut on a angle, on a miter. The top and bottom of the mug will be cut straight up and down on a 90 degree. So I'll take my cutting tool, set it against the edge of the template, and cut straight down. You may feel a tug on the newspaper where you are cutting. You might end up cutting the newspaper a little bit. Don't sweat it, it's okay. You don't have to cut so hard that you're like cutting through the newspaper, but if it happens, don't worry. Okay, so, and by the way, the reason I have the newspaper underneath the clay is that the clay will stick to your tabletop, especially when you're rolling it with the rolling pin, AKA the dowel. So just be aware of that. I'm gonna put my tools right here and rotate this. Now, the reason I rotated it is because it's a lot easier to cut on an angle when you're cutting it towards yourself. At least that's my experience. Might not be the case for you, but for me, that's my experience. So I'm gonna hold the tool on an angle here. It's a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to just glide along the edge of the template all the way through, keeping my angle consistent. Get rid of that extra clay, put it on my sponge. I'm going to maintain that same exact 45-degree angle, pointing in the same direction that way as I cut the other end all the way through. If you feel the newspaper tugging on the tip, just slide it back a little bit and continue your cut. Now I'm going to make sure that this is detached properly so I don't tear the clay. And then I'm going to get this and this piece of clay out of the way. Careful there. This last piece is tucked under, so you don't want to just pull it. It'll potentially stretch the edges. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is we can actually get rid of these sticks. We're done with those for now. And just kind of like pick up the whole piece, and then you can slide it back, making sure that it's properly cut all the way through. The clay is gonna be straight out of the bag, so it's gonna be a little bit more soft. It's gonna be a little bit more wet than clay that you wedged or rolled a coil with, so just be aware of that. It's gonna wanna stick to this newspaper. If you do get newspaper which sticks to the clay, don't sweat it. If you want to, you can peel it off. If it tears and you have little tiny pieces, don't sweat it. Just know that it will burn off in the kiln. Okay? We'll use this banding wheel with the board on top of it. Now we will use our scratcher tool, scratch the edges. Each side. Okay, and this is a really important part. Make sure that you curl it. Curl the edges. Curl the ends. Try to say that correctly. Curl the ends. Okay, it's gonna be easy to curl this part, but if you don't curl the edges, then when you put this together, you're likely to get a corner. You'll have the whole thing round, and then right at the end, it'll just be a corner. We don't want that. So now I am just making sure that it overlaps properly. Mr. Estrada, you didn't put any water on it. Yeah, you're right, I didn't. I didn't put any water on that. That's true. When the clay's this soft, adding water to it is not always a good thing. Okay, it can inhibit the traction or the friction that you need in order to blend it. And I don't like making a big mess with water. So as long as you are scratching it and blending it together, when the clay is this soft, straight out of the bag, then you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now, if we're attaching leather hard clay, absolutely you want to add some water to it. You want to wet and scratch it in that case. So at this point, now what I'm doing is I'm using my finger on the inside to blend. Blending that line where the clay came together. We don't want to have any evidence of where the clay was joined. Okay, we know it was joined, but we don't want to know where it was joined. We want it to be seamless. Now we're gonna leave the template on right now because it's gonna serve as kind of an exoskeleton so that it keeps it all together. And now I'm gonna turn my sights to making the bottom of the cup. Now I had this clay that I cut off. So we're going to use this. We're going to smack the clay together, put this clay down right here. So I showed you one way how to make a slab earlier. Another way to make a slab is you can get it close, put it down like so, and then use your dowel / rolling pin to roll it until it no longer moves. When it's not moving anymore, that's an indication to you that it is the same thickness as your sticks, as your guide sticks. Plop it down, roll it in real good so it's nice and part of it. For this part, I like to get it back on the banding wheel. Just so I can rotate it while I cut. And you'll notice these bottom pieces, these circle bottom pieces, they're not perfect circles. And if you've heard me talk about circles, there's no such thing as a perfect circle. It's either a circle or it's not. This is not a circle. It's close, but it's not a circle. And don't let that inhibit you, okay? Your mug's not gonna be perfect. Okay, if you're throwing it on the wheel, maybe you can get it more perfectly symmetrical, but this is a hand-built piece. We're gonna get it close. We're not gonna sweat it right now. We're learning how to do the process. And we're gonna scratch. All the way around. Scratch. All the way around. Okay, now I'm going to scratch all the way around. Okay, before I really push down and attach it, I want to try to get this inside area as close to a circle as possible, and then we'll cut off any extra clay that we have around the outside. I like to just kind of push down a little bit and rock it in a circular motion like so. What that does is it compresses the clay where the bottom and the base of the wall meets. This is going to help to make sure that it's connecting. What you don't want to do is blend your clay up over the top of your template. Instead, once you get those attached, take your knife, carefully hold it, you don't want to be squeezing it. Take your knife and you're going to just cut this extra clay off. So once these two are combined, you should be able to peel this at this point without it tearing the base away from the walls. If it does tear the walls off, that means that you haven't attached it well enough. Okay, I had a little clay that came off. I'm not gonna sweat that. Just be aware that I'm using a wear board here so that I can move this around without distorting it. Okay, so at this point, we've got the inside seam blended vertically. This seam is blended on the inside. I still need to clean it up on the outside, but at least on the inside, it's all good. On the bottom, where I attach the wall to the bottom, it's not blended yet. So this is when I'll take the back side of this knife and just kind of compress where those two pieces meet. Okay, once you get that blended really well, you can use another tool like a paintbrush to get in there and smooth it out. Now I'm going to peel this off. And this is where I want to say, if you put a lot of water onto your tar paper, it's gonna stick on more. So you don't want to put too much water. I think maybe like 1 or 2 sprays. I would start with 1 spray and spread it around, and then see if that's enough. If not, do a second spray. But as you can see, the tar paper stick into my walls here, and it's kind of distorting a little bit. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work here to just kind of undistort it. Okay, so I want to clean this up here. Make sure that I don't have a seam. You might be like, oh, that line's really cool. Well, it's not cool if it cracks. So make sure that you blend it really well. Always want to round the lip, so make sure you round the lip here. I'm just kind of giving it just a little pinch right now. It's too soft to really perfectly round it. So just get it in the right direction right now, so it's not a flat 90-degree edge. Okay, at this point, I have the starting of a mug. Okay, I might want to clean this little base up just a little bit. I see some extra clay. I'm gonna just clean that up, just like you would do on the wheel if you're throwing a cylinder. You want to clean that up. Okay, always clean the lip, always clean the base. Okay, and now I've got this. I would wrap this up. Probably is going to take you like the whole class period to get to this point. So this is how you're going to make your slab mug. At this point, it's just a cup. So that means we need to learn how to make a handle. I'll show you guys how to do that in another video. All right, thanks for watching. Adios.